Evening, everyone. I'd like to call the legislative meeting for March 11th, 2025 to order. We will start with the Pledge of Allegiance by Ms. Mulhern, led by Ms. Mulhern.
To the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ms. Mulhern will read the statement of acknowledgement.
We begin this meeting with acknowledgement of and honor for the many legacies that have impacted our community, particularly those buried over time. Acknowledging truth is critical to building mutual respect and connection across all barriers of heritage and difference. Cheltenham Township stands with the Lenape-Hookink, the ancestral homeland of the Lenni Lenape civilization. Their people were and still are caretakers of this land and its rivers, and their legacy continues. We pay respect to their elders past and present. Our community owes its existence and vitality to generations from around the world who contributed their hopes, dreams, and energy to making the history that led to this moment. Some were brought here against their will, some were drawn to leave their distant homes in the hope of a better life, and some have lived on this land for more generations than can be counted. Please take a moment to consider the many legacies of violence, displacement, migration, and settlement that bring us together. As a school district committed to fostering intellectual curiosity and discourse in service of social justice, join us in uncovering such truths.
Thank you, Ms. Mulhern. Ms. Harding will provide the roll call.
Ms. Blitzstein,
Ms. Blitzstein is not present this evening.
Mr. Burdell Williams,
Present.
Mr. Epps,
Present.
Ms. Henry,
Present.
Ms. Lohman,
Ms. Lohman is not present tonight.
Ms. Mulhern,
Present.
Ms. Murphy,
Present.
Mr. Schultz,
Present.
and Dr. Whiting.
Present.
Thank you. That concludes the roll call.
Thank you, Ms. Harding. Next, we will have public comments on agenda items only. If you are here in the auditorium and you have a comment, please approach the podium, state your name and where you reside in the district. If anyone is on Zoom, they can raise their hand. Okay, thank you, Mr. Kaufman. So next we will have a wonderful presentation by Senator Haywood.
Very successful career so far as a result of the education, as a result of the neighborhood, and as a result of the families that helped to build them. And we are very glad to support the district in every way we can. So I want to give Representative Nelson an opportunity to also share why we are here today.
In similar fashion, my wife and I moved into the district over 20 years ago, have sent our kids to the schools. I know the senators are doing great. My son is a knucklehead, but he's 20, and that's to be expected. And I've got a high school senior. I spent some time in your chairs right along with Julie, and we know how much you all bleed for this district and for these students and for everyone in this community, and know that we do as well now in Harrisburg and here periodically. But we are happy, as Art will say, to make sure that we are advocating as hard as we can for not only the programming here in the schools, but for the vitality of all who support it. And I know always that there are so many more community members who support this school who don't send their kids here. Just the numbers suggest that this is a community full of folks who, whether they love it or just like it, are bleeding for our public education.
So we would like to possibly approach you all to make a presentation if that's permitted. Thank you so much.
somewhere.
Very well on the trivia. Yeah, that was good. It was good stuff.
We're good. Thank you, Senator Haywood and Senator Nelson. Next, we will have our school recognition. Mrs. Robbins, Dr. Robinson from Glenside Elementary.
All right, thank you. So first I'd like to, say thank you for having Glenside here. We're excited to share a little bit about what's going on at our school. We are excited to present this month the Glenside Art Showcase 2025. And under the guidance of our art teacher, Miss Jamie Connolly, Glenside student artists learn the elements of art and principles of design, as well as experiment with a variety of art media. Students explore art history, world cultures, and seasonal themes across the K-4 curriculum. So that's what you see adorning the walls here. Highlights for this year's art show include seasonal landscapes, Frida Kahlo-inspired portraits, expressive kindergarten abstracts, Charles McGee-inspired paper sculptures, and Southwest Native American pottery designs. We're excited that at the end of this month, we will have an art reception, which will be held in honor of these artists on Thursday, March 20th from 6 to 7:30. So hopefully if you are around, you can join us. Next, I would like to introduce a presentation this evening. Someone who's going to introduce the person who'll speak about the presentation, come forward, our new doctor as of 12 p.m. this morning, Tani Threats. As Lewis calls her, she's our student principal. She's serving as an intern principal at Glenside Elementary School. And so she's going to tell you a little bit about our student presentation.
Thank you all. And as she said, I am Dr. Tawny Threats, and I had to practice that. And I have the honor of introducing Dr. Russell, our climate and culture administrator. She has been leading the efforts with our Playworks team, working closely with Coach Pete. And under her direction, Coach Pete has supported in indoor and outdoor recess, as well as teaching and training our lunch and recess staff. The feedback from Playworks has been invaluable to us in our growth and fostering safe, inclusive fun this school year. And she's going to share with you a phenomenal data update, our amazing junior coaches, and also our excitement about the direction that we're taking. Thank you. Dr. Russell.
Thank you, Dr. Threats. And thank you, board members, CSD staff, my Playworks junior coaches, and the family members who brought them here tonight. We are so happy to share what great work is happening at Glenside Elementary School. Our junior coach program is in its final stages of training, and we are set to get started. So I'm going to share a little bit of background related to our Playworks Junior Coach program. Before I do that, let me quickly introduce our junior coaches who are here representing.
My name is Janelle. My name is Blake. Hi, my name is Lewis.
Hello, my name is Adeline.
And if you look at the next slide, it shows where we are coming from. Using our perception data, we found that students had concerns about their peer relationships and interactions with each other and with our recess staff, which led to us presenting and seeking funds from the district. The Cheltenham School Foundation, our PAWS, our PTO representation, and also our Department of Student Services, they all contributed to support this program. And once we got it up and running, we were able to train staff intentionally around support in recess. And that targeted the need that we identified related to student perception and interaction and relationships with our recess staff and each other. Our recess aides and lunch aides, they now begin recess with an onboarding checklist. So we have posters right at the door, and they remind the students of all the expectations before the students head out. Additionally, when the students come back in from recess, they have routines that support the climate at recess. And then the last picture shows our PlayWorks library. Every couple of weeks, we have games of the day. So we highlight and spotlight different recess games, and the students have an opportunity to join in during recess with these games of the day. If you go to the next slide, it shows how it's going now. Because we started PlayWorks last school year, we took another step in building this program into our school by recruiting junior coaches. These amazing students, and they're just 4 of 24 students, 3rd and 4th graders, they applied and they told why they would be an amazing junior coach and what they could bring to our school. They did a wonderful job, and they were identified to become junior coaches. They've been receiving training from Coach Pete and myself since December of 2024. And like I said, we're transitioning now for when they're going to take lead over kindergarten and 1st grade recess games for our PM recess. And if you look at the next slide, this shows how our program has had such a tremendous, impactful impact on our recess climate. If you look at the 2023-2024 school year, from August to February, we had 38 referrals, discipline referrals, that occurred on the playground. If you look at this school year, again, same time frame from August to February, we have 15. So that speaks to the impact of PlayWorks, the impact of having additional administrator on the team, and this wonderful group right here is just going to continue to show the impact that this program can make to Glenside. The next screen tells you what's going on or where we're going next. Our junior coaches will be in pairs supporting kindergarten and 1st grade afternoon recess, and this will occur twice a month. So twice a month, each pair will go to the second recess for kindergarten and 1st grade students. And then Coach Pete will come in April to provide an additional training session on how things are going. Now, what better way to capture the amazing work that these junior coaches have been doing than to have them showcase something to you? If you go to the next slide, this will share that it will have more pictures of them training, and we will accept questions afterwards if there are any questions, but now we'll be able to put on display this great team. So I'll have them, if they come right to the front, and if anyone, because we all like to play, any brave person wants to join our junior coaches in a game, just come right up front. Everyone needs some play, especially right before a meeting. You can come right up front. And then coaches, you can go right to the center, okay?
Was you explaining this there?
Mm-hmm. Right there. So I'm going to have Adeline describe the first game. So Adeline, you can come to the mic so everyone can hear you. She has a nice loud voice though, but we'll use the mic, okay? All right, so the first game we're going to play is?
Splat.
All right, now can you describe how to play Splat?
Well, first we will all get into a circle, and someone will go into the middle. Lewis. So Lewis, you will turn around, you will spin around, and when he steps on somebody, he will say splat. So now, Dr. Russell will bend down, and then you two will play rock, paper, scissors.
Oh, rock, paper, scissors. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
And then, so Janelle, you will sit down. Oh yeah, this is the practice round.
Exactly.
I forgot.
Any other questions? Everyone understand? All right, let's go. You want to lead us in our first game?
Sure.
And then rock, paper, scissors. Dr. Russell. That's just one game.
All right, can we give our volunteers a hand? Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
We'll just do the one, okay? We'll just do the one.
Friends, come take some questions if they have any.
Thank you. And Splat is a great indoor recess game. We have a lot of outdoor games, so we chose an indoor recess game to spotlight because they support in the classroom and outside at recess. Does anyone have any questions for our junior coaches? Yes.
What's your favorite part? What do you like the most about it?
They're so anxious, God. They're so excited.
My favorite part is helping out with the games because a lot of people can't find out what to play. Like sometimes I had to choose between football or soccer to play at my house, so it's really fun to help out.
Anyone else want to? Go ahead.
What else do you have? What
question?
You were answering the same question. Any other questions?
Sorry about that.
What's your favorite part, Blake?
My favorite part is usually like playing a game of like Andy's Coming because all the children get to like run around and then the person who's coming says Andy's coming, and it's kind of funny because they have to become statues.
Any other questions? Wait, can I answer that last one? Oh, do you want to answer? Oh, Adeline wants to answer. Okay. Oh, yes, we'll let everyone answer.
I like also being in junior coaches because I feel like I get to really interact with the kids, and you never really get to see the first and kindergartners that often, and it's like a little treat because you get to like see the younger students, and you get to like learn. They get to learn, and you also get to learn.
My favorite part is teaching and winning the games.
Again, thank you, board members. Thank you to my junior coaches and families. And we'll keep you posted on how things go. No, we're all done. Guys, they're going to be back next month. They don't want to leave.
Well, this certainly This certainly has been an amazing legislative meeting. We don't usually have this much laughter at our legislative meetings. This was fantastic, and thank you all to Glenside Elementary. Let's give them another hand. Okay, we will move along in the meeting with, oh, okay. Dr. Scriven is going to get a picture with the students. All right, so next we will have our student council report by Ms. Zubeiru.
Okay. Good evening, school board members. The Cheltenham Student Council met on February 24th, 2025. I will now read out the updates. Environmental is planning a thrift drive after spring break. Mr. Cheltenham's date is planned to be April 25th. Class of 2026 plans on doing an end-of-year junior carnival. Charity is planning a spring blood drive and a buddy walk for National Down Syndrome Day with the MCIU. And Civics and Community Engagement is meeting with advisors and committee members about elections. And that concludes my report.
Thank you so much. Sunshine announcements, Mr. Diazio. I'm sorry. Oh, yeah, certainly.
Sorry for the interruption. Just a question, is the blood drive, is that community or is that for students? High school students, okay, got it, thanks.
Okay. All right. Sunshine announcements, Mr. Diazio.
Thank you. The board has not met in executive session since the last meeting, so there's no Sunshine Act announcement. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Diazio. Dr. Scriven will provide the superintendent's report.
So good afternoon, or I should say good evening, Madam Chair, and to our Board of Directors. This evening, I will be presenting a twofold report on two items. One is FID, which stands for our Flexible Instruction Days. Later in the presentation, we'll be addressing Act 56, which talks about actual instructional days versus instructional hours. You can go to the next slide. Oh, you're there. So first and foremost, what is FID and what is its purpose? FID is designed for continuity during emergency closures. So it gives districts flexibility to deliver instruction out of the traditional way. It prevents having to extend a school calendar, and there's a strong emphasis on the use of technology and other resources for authentic instruction or alternate instruction. Next slide. FID serves as an alternative method during closures. PDE allows up to 5 FID days in a year. Most districts use this flexible instructional day as a synchronous, asynchronous, or in some type of printed material. Next slide. There's an application process. Districts are responsible for a very extensive planning process where they are sharing the instructional methods, how students are going to be engaged, and what the accessibility strategies are going to be. There's also an evaluation component to the FID process. In terms of execution, this is normally done in some type of remote format. And like I said, they have to be pre-approved by the Pennsylvania Department of Education. This deadline is usually June 30th of the prior year. So we're currently in 24-25. We need to make sure that our FIT application is in prior to June 30th of this year, which would then make us eligible to be able to implement up to 5 FIT days next school year. Next slide. What are the advantages of a FID scenario? It prevents disruption in academic calendar, reduces the need for extended school year, it emphasizes adaptability, it encourages new instructional technologies. As you guys know, we have become pretty proficient with use of technology as a result of COVID, and I think that's part of why we now have the option of being able to submit an application to do these types of flexible days. It reiterates the importance of aligned standard-based curricular and formative assessments, research-based strategies, and the utilization of common pacing guides. Next slide, please. What are some of the challenges of FID? And this is interesting. There is definitely an equity issue around utilizing FID as an alternative means of delivering instruction, especially for our most vulnerable populations, such as special education or other students who have gaps in their learning. The one-on-one personalized instruction cannot be implemented with fidelity the same way that it's done in a traditional setting. One would question definitely the quality of the instruction. Being asynchronous or synchronous is not the same as being guided through a lesson by a highly qualified teacher. Student engagement. Our students have different learning modalities. In the FID process or in that flexible instructional process, when we talk about differentiating instruction, it's very hard to do it within the confines of being in a remote setting. Next slide, please. Additional challenges around the FID implementation are limited accommodations and modifications, as I alluded to, struggles with self-pacing if a kid is not able to or does not have that drive or that core level of understanding. A lot of times they will shut down and disengage, and without having that adult presence there, it's hard to be reprompted. Potential for widened achievement gaps is a real possibility. I'm saying all this to say that I believe in the transparency. We've had some unique situations this school year. At Elkins Park, we had to close for 2 days due to a crack in one of the pipes of our boiler system. We had the unfortunate, unforeseen situation with the fire at SBS, where we had to close for an additional 2 days. And some of the questions from the community were, in addition, we had 2 inclement weather days due to snow. Why did we not pivot to virtual days at any of those moments or opportunities? Last year, for those who remember, we went through transition where our assistant superintendent left in March. I had an interim assistant superintendent come in. Dr. Savage did not come in until end of June, close to July. And there were some pieces that should have happened that did not. One being our FID application was not submitted. Subsequently, we were not able to use that virtual option this year. We are well poised this year to have that FID application submitted, as I alluded to earlier. But I want to be clear, it will be, as a district, our last resort. But I do think it's something that we have to be cognizant of and that we have to have available in case of emergency. And with that said, let's skip 2 slides. Actually, 3 slides. And let's go to Act 56. And you could go to the first slide. In the first slide, Act 56 was enacted by Pennsylvania Department of Education. It's designated to address specific educational challenges. The state really went the direction of Act 56 because districts also have a FID option. So you have now more flexibility by not being able to just adhere to 180 instructional days. At the elementary level, 900, secondary level, 990. We are well beyond the state requirement in both areas, but due to the 2 days at Elkins Park, we had to take back March 27th and use that as an instructional day as a result of EP being right on the cusp of meeting the state criteria. Subsequently, I received emails from community around the last notice, the late notice, only given 3 weeks. We do apologize for that, but this has been a moving target. Dr. Savage and team monitor our hours actually by the minute, and we keep an active count as we move through the year. We felt it was necessary because I do not know day to day what's going to happen at Elkins Park, to have a little bit of a cushion and a buffer. Hence, it's why we're making a proposal to make that adjustment in the calendar. I do want to say to the public and to our community at large that we know that families may have made plans for the 27th, and subsequently we will mark that as an excused absence if a parent gives school leadership notification and copies me as superintendent. So I do not want to make this punitive for families that have plans, and subsequently that's why we're offering that as an option. Right now, there will be some other updates that we will probably revisit on the calendar in April. But I wanted to give some context to why we're moving the direction we are with today's proposal to the Board of Education. So I'm not going to go through this entire slide presentation. It's on board docs. Just know that both FID, Flexible Instructional Days, and Act 56 give any school district an opportunity to make the necessary adjustments if needed based on extreme emergencies, inclement weather. There's a criteria, and I think what I will actually do is have something posted to the web that really explains what FID is and what Act 56 stand for and represent. So that brings closure to my report for this evening. Feel free to access the presentation and go through it in more detail if you so desire. That's it, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Dr. Scriven. We will move on to our committee reports. Mr. Schultz will provide the financial affairs update.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
The Financial Affairs Committee met on Tuesday, March 4th in the Administration Building with a hybrid Zoom option. The agenda included, after approval of minutes, roll call and approval of minutes, the agenda included an update on our interim financial statements, and then an update on our budget process, including some reports on the state budget, which has not been passed, but some initial information has been presented to the community. This item in particular is relevant for our community to understand because we can come to speak to our state senator and our state representative, Senator Haywood and Representative Nelson, to advocate for certain aspects of the budget. In particular, there is a proposed charter school tuition change that would have a flat tuition for cyber charters, and if that were to pass, it would represent $1.4 million of savings to this district. The next item and the final item on our agenda was an update which is related to a board action this evening around Chromebook licenses, which is approximately $560,000 to be approved or not approved tonight. The one thing of note is we did discuss some of the economic uncertainties that are the result of federal tariffs. I know many members of our community want to know and understand how our district is affected by what's going on in Washington, D.C., and this is one very concrete thing, which is as we are approving expenses related to our upcoming facilities projects, but also just day-to-day operational things our district does, like licensed Chromebooks, tariffs will impact our community. So we are voting to approve these tonight because if we voted to approve them in future after a 10% tariff on China, it would represent $56,000 of increased expense. So just wanted to note that as well. The next meeting will be held on April 1st following the Facilities Committee meeting. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Schultz. Ms. Murphy will provide the Educational Affairs update.
Thank you, Madam President. The last Educational Affairs Committee meeting was February 24th. It was a special education update by Dr. Catherine Bone and his team. Special education is instruction that is specially designed to meet the unique needs of a child with a disability. This means education that is individually developed to address a specific child's needs that result from his or her disability. The new framework developed last school year has an instructional vision of high-quality standards and aligned curriculum and instructional resources, evidence-based practices, balanced systems of assessments, and professional learning and collaboration. The work focused on 4 types of support: learning support, autistic support, life skills support, and emotional support. We viewed data from iReady Diagnostics, Success Maker Diagnostics, and iLit 20. We also viewed favorable data on parent feedback on the work of the special education administrators and teachers. The next Educational Affairs meeting will be on March 18th at 7 p.m. in the Administration Building. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Ms. Murphy. Mr. Burdell Williams will provide the update on Eastern Center for Arts and Technology.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The Eastern Center for Arts and Technology February meeting started with a recognition of 2 students of the month. The JLC did not meet in January. The January student of the month was Kenneth Lawyer, an Abington Senior High School senior, who was recognized for his outstanding work in Eastern's Protective Services program. At Eastern, Kenneth was recognized as a leader within his program. He has actively contributed to a range of school and after-school initiatives, including key events like Designer Bag Bingo at Eastern, the Open House, and the 10th Grade Career Expo. At Eastern, he's received industry standard certifications, such as Incident Command System, National Incident Management System, Incident Safety, Active Shooter Training, CPR AED, Stop the Blood Training, First Aid, and Firefighter 1. After graduating from Eastern and Abington Senior High, Kenneth plans to pursue a degree in fire science at Bucks County Community College. And then for February, Andrew Rodriguez, a Hatboro Horsham High School senior, was recognized for his outstanding work in Eastern's Culinary Arts program. Andrew finds his inspiration and motivation in collaborating with his family, crediting those experiences with keeping him grounded and instilling him in a strong sense of purpose. His family has a significant amount of experience in the restaurant business, and so it was no surprise that Andrew was interested in this program, but also that no surprise that he's thriving there as well. After graduating from Eastern and Hatboro Horsham High School, Andrew plans to either take a gap year to save some money, which is all right too, and pursue his culinary education, whether at Montgomery County Community College, Penn College of Technology, or at Johnson & Wales. February, do want to also recognize was Black History Month, and as such, there was additional recognition at Eastern and also on their website for a number of students who were highlighted throughout the month. Cheltenham had 4 students who were recognized throughout the month. Jayla Martin, who is in cosmetology, Christine Singleton, who is in culinary arts, Amira Banks, who is in exercise science, and Kafara Anyika, who is in welding technology. I wanted to make sure that those students had a good shout out tonight, and also available on Eastern's website are some bios and also the actual recognitions for each of those students as well. Other action from the Joint Operating Committee in the in the financial space was the certification of the 25-26 budget, which again is on a different cycle than that of the Cheltenham School District. Eastern's fiscal year is from January to January, which is different from the Cheltenham School District, and as such, they have a different budget approval timeline. Additionally, Eastern received a competitive equipment grant, which they have been quite blessed and lucky to be receiving on a pretty consistent basis, of $85,000, which included equipment for automotive technology, electrical technology, and welding technology. The next meeting of the Eastern Center for Arts and Technology is tomorrow, Wednesday, March 12th at 8 p.m. in person at Eastern's facility on Turwood Road in Upper Moreland. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Burdell Williams. For the Montgomery County Intermediate Unit, Ms. Lohman usually provides that report as she's that representative. She was not available as she's traveling internationally. The next meeting for the MCIU will be March 26th at 6:45. Mr. Burdell Williams, you are up again for the facilities update.
And excited to do so. The March Facilities Committee met on Tuesday, March 4th, and was chaired by Ms. Mulhern. At the meeting, Mr. Swigert shared updates regarding ongoing and completed projects across the district, as well as an update related to some fallen trees and storm damage at Cedarbrook, which are currently being addressed by admin. Related to the an additional update that we received there, I'm going out of order, but was related to the details of the SPS fire. Mr. Swigert shared that in addition to our Cheltenham response to the event, numerous school districts in the area closed as an immediate response. Additionally, an environmental company was engaged to assess the air quality, ensure health and safety of the students and staff at Glenside and Wyncote due to their proximity to the actual fire being within the 1 mile radius. And the data obtained from that sampling event was determined to be below regulatory limits and safe for our students and community. Following that update, we also heard from Mr. Swigert on a fairly detailed update regarding the ongoing capital building projects within the district. In summary, key permits for the Glenside and Cedarbrook projects related to land development and environmental conservation are in various phases of submission in alignment with the overall project timelines. So we are continuing to move forward there, which is a plus on our part, and again, a plus to the work that's being done by Mr. Swigert and the business office. One additional point that was shared was related to the overall project cost. So initially, it's been discussed here through the approval process, as well as at previous facilities and finance committee meetings, that the budget for the overall project was about $10 million. When that project was originally scoped back in 2022, $10 million was about right. Since then, given the significant amount of inflation that's occurred, the actual budgeted number, if we budgeted that project today, would be $12.2 million, and currently the project actuals are tracking at an expense of about approximately $12.1 million. So currently, the approved expenses, as well as those that are projected, are in alignment with what the current budget number would be if, in fact, that project was scoped today based on today's inflation rates. You should know as a community, in response to that, that we have already approved bids for the track turf as well as the aluminum bleachers, which were significant costs that could have been impacted by the recent tariffs, as well as the ongoing inflation. However, again, kudos to the administration for taking action very early in the process of this project to get bids out, but also to bring them in front of the board for quick approval, such that we can continue on the project timeline. There is no current board action on today's agenda. However, it should be noted that the bid opening for the construction aspect of the project is going to be this Thursday, and it's going to be held here. Why is that important? Because following that, the community should expect that there'll be a board meeting for us to be able to approve that project, again, in alignment with not only the project timeline, but also with the swift action on the part of the administration to continue to keep the different milestones of this project moving forward. Speaking of those milestones, inside of the presentation, we also saw a visual of a Gantt chart of the total project itself related to the high school stadium project, which is also available for the public's consumption. And that concludes my report. The next meeting, actually, of the Cheltenham School District Facilities Committee will be Tuesday, April 1st at 7 p.m. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Burdell Williams. Ms. Mulhern will provide an update for the liaison group.
Thank you, Ms. Henry. The liaison group did not meet last month, and our next meeting has not been set.
Thank you, Ms. Mulhern. Mr. Epps will provide a policy committee update.
Good evening. Again, administrators, members of the board, and anyone within listening distance, good evening again. Tonight, I will report as co-chair of the policy committee. There are 8 policies on our agenda today that are here as second read, so we won't take official action on them tonight. They'll come back one more time to the committee before they will return to our agenda to be considered for adoption. So folks can feel free to go and review those policies, everything from our volunteers and how you don't need a TB test if you're not going to volunteer for more than 10 hours a week in the school building. I say that again, you don't need a TB test. The policy is pretty clear on that. And everything from foreign exchange students to enrollment. So those are open for review through our board docs website. Our next meeting will be March 25th at 7 p.m., held live in the admin building and streamed online. That concludes my report.
And Mr. Epps, you were... Oh, okay, go ahead. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Mr. Epps, when you mentioned not needing a TB test, would that take into effect after this policy is passed, or is that the current status? Thank you for asking. That technically is the current status, and I confirmed that with our solicitor, who's looking at me with a smile. That is our current status, but thanks to the diligence of our legal representation, the language will be more clear. If the policy is approved with the language now, it'll be very clear for our staff members what a direct volunteer means and what you then need to do if you are a direct volunteer
and what you do not need to do if you are not a direct volunteer, which most of our, if you need to chaperone, in other words, if you need to chaperone for a field trip, you do not need to get a TB test today or even after we pass. Well,
thank you.
Assuming that we pass it, yeah.
Mr. Epps, you might as well keep it lit.
Yeah, okay, so next is the legislative committee meeting, which, excuse me, sorry, I wrote my wrong. Cool. All right, so first up, I want to give acknowledgement to our superintendent, business owners and elected officials, even our senator and state rep who was here a little earlier. The Cheltenham African American Alliance held a town hall forum for community members, especially those who identify as African American, to talk about what our community is doing to protect rights, to ensure that we remain a place that welcomes everyone, no matter their identity, and especially the focus of the conversation was within our school buildings, how our students and staff are protected, and how we will remain focused on ensuring that they have the inspiration, the resources to meet their full potential. So a lot of the town hall was focused on education. So everything from, even if you're following recent reports around the Department of Education itself at the national level, we do have an understanding of financially what the impacts would be on us. Even there's an emotional and cultural impact that our administration is even keeping abreast of. And so it seemed like for those who are participating, appreciated hearing that message directly from the source, if you will. And it's as a participant on that night, I was encouraged to hear of the partnership. The school district, although it was a focus of the night, we're not acting alone. And so our township is going to stand up with us. Social service partners are standing up with us, and other community partners who will have a role to play. And so that's important that everyone is clear on their role and the authority to ensure that we are protecting our residents, we're protecting those who live in our community, and doing all that we can to do so. So thank you for administration and others who showed up. There are ongoing conversations regarding cyber charter reform. We've even heard, as part of this year's budget negotiations, savings that can be found by applying what is a flat tuition. But that's really a starting point, if you will. There are other considerations, especially as it relates to special education and other aspects of cyber charter school and funding. And so we're hearing in the legislative committee that there still is an interest to have those conversations for broader cyber charter reform. And so with time, we have to continue our advocacy to ensure that at this time it remains a topic for consideration. As a heads up to my fellow colleagues, April 25th is the MCIU Legislative Breakfast. So having an opportunity for us to break bread with our elected officials, some that we know, some that we don't know, and a chance to directly advocate and share what's happening within Cheltenham. So look out for more invitations and information about the 25th, but you can mark your calendars if you're able to attend. That's an open invite to all of the board members and admin as well. PSBA Day on the Hill is May 13th, 2025. PSBA does have some information online to register for that, but again, as we consider what we want our own effort to be, mark that on your calendars as well if there is interest in participating. The next legislative committee meeting will be April 2nd, 2025, and we will welcome a guest. We'll be hearing about a program, Voices for Education. And so I'm excited to hear a little bit more. I believe it's around youth voice and education. We'll be hearing more about that and opportunities to spread throughout the state. And I'll bring any updates that are pertinent to this body. Thanks. That will conclude my report.
Thank you, Mr. Epps. We will move to approve the minutes from the February 11th legislative meeting. I have a motion to approve.
So moved. Dan Schultz.
Second, Charles Burdell Williams.
All in favor say aye.
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 Aye. The motion carries. The minutes are approved. And we will next move to our consent agenda. And I have a motion to approve.
So moved, Zachary Epps.
Second, Leah Mulhern.
Before we go to the vote, are there any comments? Ms. Mulhern?
Yes, thank you, Ms. Henry. I just wanted to speak quickly about Dr. Clark's retirement. As a Wyncote family, Dr. Clark has been three of my children's principals for the last 11 years. And over those years, I got to work closely with Dr. Clark and get to know her as I served as a PTO president, volunteering in the building, and just going about all the things you do when you're in a school for 10 years straight. Dr. Clark was famous for a lot of things, big ideas that she somehow always managed to pull off, and I never could quite believe how, but we did some awesome things thanks to that tenacity and the excitement that she had that was contagious. She was never afraid to play hard with students and try things out, famously once leaving field day in a wheelchair, which I believe Mr. Taylor will remember as he pushed her out. And
As I pushed her out of field day.
Out of field, yes, oh my God, out of field day.
Clear.
In a wheelchair, out of field day.
For clarification.
It was in context. It was in context. Oh, goodness. And Dr. Clark began every assembly, every back-to-school night, every event by, instead of asking us to quiet down or say, excuse me, or, clap if you can hear me, she would start singing the Wyncote school song. And thanks to that, myself and I think every other parent, student, grandparent, babysitter, anyone who was there now knows the school song. And I will never forget it, and I sing it every chance I get. I will not sing it for you now because I am not a singer like Dr. Clark. But it has a lot of great lines in it, and it ends with saying that you'll ask the best of me, and I will give my best to you. And Dr. Clark really modeled for students, I think, giving her best to Wyncote every day that she was there. So thank you, Dr. Clark.
Yeah, Dr. Clark will be missed. She was my youngest daughter's principal also. And her personality was just so bubbly, and you could tell when you walked into the school, it was just a really light and great place to be. So Dr. Clark, wish her well, and she will be missed.
Yes.
I want to second everything that Ms. Mulhern said, but in addition to that, want to recognize that Dr. Clark is not just a fixture in the school district, but she's a fixture in the community as well. She lives in Cheltenham. Her family's from here. She raised her children here. You'll still see her around. But knowing that she's retiring, and I'm sad for the district, but I'm also very happy for her and her family. Spoken with them recently, and there's a lot of fun plans in their future. And maybe the timing wasn't fantastic, but I'm encouraged. And I think anybody who may see her around in the community, don't forget to say hey and be cordial, because she has been fantastic for us. And what she does after this, I'm sure, will be fantastic as well. The other piece that I do want to add is recognition of volunteers, which I do quite frequently. This month's list does happen to have esteemed members of the Epps family on it, and I really want to highlight the energy that not only Mr. Zachary Epps brings to his board work, but also I know it is not easy to become a volunteer here. So you're going through a lot here, and I'm hopeful for the approval tonight for you, Mr. Epps, and for your wife, Felicia, as well. Thank you.
You stole my thunder. All right. All in favor of Mr. Epps being the, no, I'm just kidding. All in favor of approval of the consent agenda?
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. And the motion carries. Next, we will have public comments on non-agenda items. If you are in the auditorium, you can approach the podium, state your name and where you reside in the community.
Hello, my name is Kristen Smith, and I reside in Glenside. Okay. Good evening, members of the Cheltenham School District Board, Superintendent Scriven, and community members. My name is Kristen Smith, and I am honored to stand before you tonight as the president of Cheltenham Sports. a nonprofit organization dedicated to providing low-cost, high-quality athletic opportunities for the youth of our community since 1932. But beyond that title, I'm deeply rooted in the Cheltenham community. I'm a proud K-12 graduate of the Cheltenham School District. I also went to Wyncote, and that song is still in my head from the 80s. And my two sisters are graduates as well of the Cheltenham School District. My 12-year-old twins are current students at Elkins Park School. My husband is both an educator at Cedarbrook Middle School and an assistant basketball coach for the Cheltenham High School basketball team. And my father not only coaches Cedarbrook's 7th grade baseball team, but also serves as a Cheltenham Township Commissioner. Cheltenham is not just where I live, it is my home and has been since I was 4. Cheltenham Sports currently offers programs in soccer, basketball, wrestling, roller hockey, and our newly formed cheerleading team, the Cheltenham Dollies, which I personally coach. The ability to offer these programs at an affordable cost is only possible because of the school district's partnership in allowing us to access its fields and indoor facilities. For that, we are extremely grateful. Now more than ever, access to low-cost extracurricular activities is critical. Through sports, we teach teamwork, discipline, and leadership, helping our kids develop skills that go far beyond the game. Cheltenham Sports also plays an important role as a feeder program, preparing young athletes to transition into middle and high school sports with a solid foundation. By providing training and development opportunities right here in our own community, we ensure that families do not have to look outside of Cheltenham for quality sports programs. Our young athletes can grow, compete, and develop their skills close to home, strengthening not only their athletic abilities, but also their ties to their community and future school teams. As the district moves forward with plans to close Elkins Park School, we recognize the impact this will have not just on students, but on the greater community. We ask that the district consider working with Cheltenham Township to ensure continued access to key facilities like the gym, track and field, and most importantly, the skating rink. Without access to this rink at Elkins Park, our Cheltenham Sports roller hockey program is at risk, jeopardizing a unique and valuable opportunity that has been offered for over 20 years. My goal tonight is simple, just to introduce myself, reaffirm our commitment to partnering with the district, and ask that you continue to work with us to ensure that Cheltenham's young athletes have access to the resources they need to grow, compete, and succeed. We appreciate and value the relationship we have with you, and we look forward to working together to keep sports accessible and thriving in our community. Thank you for your time and for all you do to support our students and families. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
And I have some of our annual report from 2023. I have 12 copies that I can leave here for you.
You can put them right on the desk there, the table. Thank you. Yes.
Just a brief moment. I just wanted to say thanks for coming, Mrs. Smith. I'm a board member, but I'm also a coach in Cheltenham Sports. I know Mr. Burdell Williams is also a coach in Cheltenham Sports, and so I can speak to the direct impact, the transformation that happens. Right, we talk about it within the school building and within the walls, but the same type of transformation is happening on the play fields. And so when talked about collaboration, persistence, like efficacy, believing in yourself, all of those things I feel that I am contributing to, and I take coaching as community service. So I appreciate you coming out tonight, and definitely will look to be an advocate within this body for how we can partner.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Mr. Kaufman, are there any people online? Thank you. The information section, our future meetings are as listed. I will now call for a motion to adjourn this meeting.
So moved.
Second, Ross Whiting.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
The meeting is adjourned.